Hey guys, what's going on? Wow, we had some technical difficulties last night. I don't know if you were on for that one, but oh boy, we were rolling last night after Interstellar at the BlueCat office. The late night, we had a late night Ustream going, and we had a lot of people. Of course, it was very late where we were. And then suddenly the internet just knocked off in the whole building. And we waited like 20 minutes. It was just like, let's wait. Did that video ever get up, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we put in a lame explanation video up. I don't know, it's like whatever. We figured we had to do something. But it was And then right when we were leaving, the internet came on. Mike was sort of thought it was funny to cheerfully tell us, the internet's back on! After we were already halfway out the door, it was like, I think everybody's gone by now. It's like 20 minutes later. So we are going to be doing it tonight at 11:30 to 1:30. So if you are just getting on your lunch break over in Sydney or something later on today, we're going to be on. So anybody on that side of the world, we will be doing two free entry contests with the shorts. 2 free shorts will be given out, and yeah. So and we'll basically pick it up from last night and. We will. It'll be awesome. But tonight we have 2 guests. We're so fortunate to have 2 people that sort of share with you their paths after they won at BlueCat, and they had some success at BlueCat. And we have our 2014 finalist Caitlyn Brown. Her script Handbone was a finalist this year. She was top 5, and she's going to be coming by around in a couple hours, and she was our only woman in the top 5. We did have a woman win the Joplin Award, but Caitlyn was the only out of the top 5. She was our finalist. She's great. She's going to tell you what happened after she won. She went on some meetings and signed with someone she's working. She's got a couple things that have happened to her, so it'll be interesting. She also has an interesting job, a very interesting job that I think a lot of you will be interested in, and so I think that'll be really cool. You'll have some cool questions, and she's just awesome. She's awesome. But it's a very special treat tonight is we have John Goldman, who won BlueCat in 2013, 2003. 11 years ago, John won, and he has had a very, very cool career. I don't even have a bio for him in front of me. I could list all of his cool stuff. It's more, you know, we'll just have him fill it in and tell us what happened. But he won for a script called Escher. It was really a great script. It was very impressive. Do you know who Escher is? M.C. Escher, artist, and it's really a brilliant, lovely script. And I remember being so proud that it won. I think it was our 5th winner. Our 5th winner, because he might have been the first guy, because the first 4 winners of BlueCat were women. Most people don't know that, but if you go back in our history, the first 4 were women, and people were thinking, "Is this guy obsessed or something? What's going on here with this guy?" But then I think John was our first. I think he was our first guy, and we had a reading over on the Fox lot with Alexander Payne was there for about 40 pages, and then he split. He was there. He's mentored John. and it was really fun. It was great. And it was he's just really kicked ass since then. He's done a lot of really fun things, and he just did something really, really cool. And we're going to have him talk about that. Yeah, so why don't we bring John in? We have John right here. We'll have him come in, and we'll start talking to John. John Goldman. Come on in.
Thank
There's
you.
John. Yeah.
Everyone. Good to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, John. So, okay, going back to you won BlueCat, and where were you at that time? I mean, people sort of, when they're entering contests, they, they're sort of, share with them where you were so they can sort of see the trajectory.
Yeah, I was working full-time. I was working as a producer's assistant, so I was, writing nights and weekends, and poured a lot of my time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears into writing that script, and didn't really know, competitions like BlueCat were kind of just a great motivator for me, and certainly winning it was a huge confidence boost, and started to get me more attention within the industry. And I think around that time I was just making the transition from like a full-time job to more of a freelance consulting kind of lifestyle, which I'm still managing to do today.
Right.
To keep lunch on the table.
Right. So what happened that you made a short? Probably we should talk about your short.
The first one?
Yeah, that did really well. So tell us about where that came from. What about that?
Well, I've actually done 3 now. The first one I did was, I think, 2004, so it was the next year. And that one is called Kind of a Blur with Sandra Oh, who's a close friend of mine, and that's why Alexander Payne was at.
Yeah, I think Sandra Oh
came too.
She participated in the reading.
Yeah,
very generous.
Yeah, super generous.
She's a great actress too.
Yeah, and so I wrote my first short for her and directed that one in 2004, and that one did very well on the festival circuit in like 2005, 2006, and then I did another one in 2009 that did even better in terms of the caliber of festivals that it got into.
Okay.
And, attention that it got.
What was the title of that?
That one is called Diplomacy.
Okay.
And both of them are on the iTunes store, and you can watch them.
Oh, cool.
So $1.99.
I think Mike will find those. Try and find those, and we'll get those on the chat before John leaves. So make sure to go check those out. I mean, we have a lot of people writing shorts, and we get. We obviously, we have a shorts competition. We get a lot of shorts, so. Check out what he did with these 2 shorts, and then because we're going to watch the other one, the third one that he's done. But tell us about Diplomacy and the festivals and how that happened.
Yeah, so the first one, Kind of a Blur, was kind of my film school.
So it's a kind of a blur?
Kind of a blur.
Okay.
Like my memories are kind of a blur. Exactly. There we go. So that one was really my film school, and it's kind of a funny lark of a story.
Now, in terms of when you say it's your film school, what's that mean?
What I mean is I didn't go to film school.
Yeah,
and so
basically it was just a bunch of screw ups.
Yeah,
that gave you so much information. You're like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah,
I want to avoid that in the future.
It wasn't that bad, but it was like it was like learning actually how you can fix mistakes you make at the script level when you're shooting, and how you can fix mistakes you make shooting when you're editing, that kind of learning curve.
Yeah.
And, so the film that I made, which is, the plot is sort of about this couple that wakes up the morning after a wild outdoor rave in South Park, Colorado, trying to piece together what happened the night before. So it's actually, similar to The Hangover, but it was before The Hangover.
Yeah.
And it's a romantic comedy.
There you go. There's parallel development for you.
Exactly. So, it turned out, I'm very proud of how it turned out. It was very funny, and Sandra and John Wright who plays the guy, are both great. But it was very different. It wasn't with Diplomacy. With the next one, having learned everything I learned, I really made what I set out to make instead of something kind of coming together, which is what happened with the first one. And Diplomacy is...
What did you do in that period of time between, what were the projects you were sort of maybe chasing, or a feature you were writing? Was there anything you want to touch on in that period?
Between the two shows?
Yeah, you know how it is. It's like we sort of go down these rabbit holes for a second. And
yeah. No, it's interesting to think about. I was really, I think, developing my voice. I think in that interim I wrote 2 very different versions of a screenplay, trying to figure out if I was more of a studio comedy kind of writer or an independent film kind of guy.
Right.
The latter is the answer that I only discovered through writing kind of both versions of a script.
Did you also work with an agent or manager and sort of get some experiences from that end of it that sort of informed you as well, maybe?
Yeah. I had a manager and then a manager and an agent at that time. And yeah, I was figuring out what my voice was and what what kind of films I wanted to write and make, and also how to make a living, whether to try to write things to sell them, which I don't do now because that just wasn't what was going to work for me. Versus the possibly more difficult but more rewarding path for me of just really writing things I'm passionate about and trusting that they're going to find their way and find an audience and I'll somehow make a living.
Which is like what Woody Allen and Paul Thomas Anderson and it's like there's a lot of people that that sort of. I think I woke up to that very late, and I think it's great in that Woody Allen documentary. He talks about. There's the whole story about how he wrote the first feature. It wasn't directed by him. He hated the process, and he was like, never again. And he was like 25 when that light bulb went off. That he would never work another way.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes us a little longer, but that sounds like that's what it was. You just realize it's like I don't want to write for hire.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough to get anything done. You might as well really, for me, take full ownership and try to do something special. So with Diplomacy, there was another feature that I wrote that I was trying to direct, and about 4 or 5 years had passed, and I was like, I need to direct something, and I want to really direct something that has kind of an authority, a voice, something that's me. And so Diplomacy came out of the work that I do. A lot of the work I do to make a living is as a translator. I speak French, and so I translate scripts and books and things from French into English. And I'm always tempted as a translator to change things and make them better. And I wanted to dramatize that because it's a very unique thing. You only know that if you're in that driver's seat of, you're being paid to translate something for somebody who can't necessarily vet.
How would you know?
So I was always in that position. So Diplomacy is a short film about a high-stakes diplomatic encounter between the United States and Iran, in which the 2 diplomats are very entrenched in their positions, which are the real positions of our 2 governments, and they each have an interpreter with them, whose job it is to translate back and forth between English and Farsi, and the interpreters at first accidentally and then more on purpose change in subtle and then not so subtle ways the translation, and it's subtitled so the viewer is in the same position as the.
And this is on iTunes.
This one's on iTunes.
Okay, so both of them are on iTunes, everybody. But so both of these, but everything he's talking about, but Diplomacy went on to. You went to a lot of festivals.
It did really well, right? It played. I got to go to Tokyo with it. Abu Dhabi, played the film in the Middle East, which was to my great relief. People laughed a lot and liked it there. And South by Southwest. It got into. Won a lot of awards. Played Aspen Shorts Fest.
Oh, that's a great festival. Those are all good. Yeah. That's great. So that must have been fun. So now. Okay, somebody's thinking, all right, this guy made a cool short. It went everywhere, a lot of places, what were you thinking? now I'm going to be able to what were you thinking when you were that sort of, what year was when you were kind of winding down the festival thing for diplomacy? What year was that?
That was 2009 to 10.
Okay, and then so what was sort of, where were you at?
So where I was at was, now with this as a calling card, a well-made short film with good performances,
right?
I can make my first feature. And so I wrote a because one thing I learned from the feature I wrote before that I was trying to make is just basic stuff about what the budget is going to be based on what you write, and realizing that I really needed and wanted to make a very contained film so that I could make it.
Yeah, you can make it.
So I wrote a film that I'm still trying to make that is almost entirely set in a house. It's a dysfunctional family,
cool
kind of drama comedy.
One location.
Yeah. So in theory, simple.
Right.
Still trying to make it.
Right. Right.
These things are never easy.
What's the issues that you see right now? Is it the script needs to be developed more, attachments, or
the script doesn't need to be developed more. I've worked on it for a long time, and I've had
I bet.
and I've developed it a lot, actually. I took this script through Film Independence directing and screenwriting labs.
Oh, okay, great.
So I got great mentorship.
Yeah, we just had is it the Fine Lab in LA?
Yep.
Yeah, we just had our winner this year take his script through that. Henry Crum, he just shared about that. He just went through that like a week ago or whatever. So you took it through these development labs, and then
took it through those labs. I've had some financing at certain points. I've had great cast elements at other points. Helpful producers. It's mostly just a financing question,
right?
And it's since it's not a genre movie, it's
a drama.
It's a drama.
Yeah,
dramas are hard to prove at the concept stage that it's going to work.
Right.
So it's been tricky, but I'm still working on it, and
how do you feel? How do you feel about it right now? I mean,
I still feel really good about it.
Okay.
It still feels like the first feature I'm meant to make.
Okay, that's great.
So I've got a lot of other irons in the fire because
it's great.
It's not happening yet.
Right.
But it's probably the only one of my scripts. Yeah, it's the only one of my scripts that has lasted this long in my head and heart as something I still want to make.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
that sounds so cool.
I think it'll happen.
So what now? So okay. So at some point, how did you get this Lexus program? The novel. Just tell everybody what the Lexus thing is, and they did it 1 year. This is the second year. Tell us about their thing. What are they doing? So
this came over the transom at the beginning of this year. I didn't know about the Lexus short films. They, as you said, they had done it last year. They produced 5 short films, and I was working on other stuff. I had just gotten back from some travels, and got a call from the producer, Joey Horvitz, who had seen Diplomacy. And because I was recommended by a programmer who had actually programmed Diplomacy for Abu Dhabi, and also works at Cannes, and he invited me to submit a treatment for this initiative, and so that's when I learned what it was and saw what they had done last year, and thought it was a really cool opportunity, and they were doing some things differently this second year. For one thing, they were only going to make 2 short films, and they were looking for one director from the United States and one from Japan. And so, it was interesting because the creative brief, which was this like 2-page document, maybe it was longer, that described the parameters of what they were looking for, was really open, and so I recognized that they were doing something. They were looking for something that didn't need to be a commercial, but could really be a standalone.
There's a lot of those things. Make a commercial. It's got to be 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah, or really revolve around the product.
Yeah.
And, in this, they they even said in that creative brief that it didn't need to include a Lexus. If there was a car in it, the car needs to be a Lexus, but there was no requirement that your
Wow,
story...
you didn't even have to have the Lexus in there.
Mm-mm.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, and I could tell they were just looking for something...
That's really supportive.
Yeah.
I mean...
And, you guys will see, there is briefly a Lexus in my film, because I actually thought it would be weird not to have one. Because it's, being branded as Lexus Short Films, I thought it would almost be more distracting if you're like, where's the car?
Yeah.
Then
That's
just
really,
to include it
really smart
in an incidental way.
Because that totally would have distracted me.
Yeah, you're like, why are they
I was like, wait a minute. And
Yeah.
then you just, that's like, no way.
Yeah, but, as you'll see, it's somebody pulls up in a car, because people drive cars in 2014.
Right. So how did you get selected? How did you get selected, and then what was the process of when they selected you? Then can you tell us how much the budget was, or?
I can't. I'm not supposed to.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to even know, but I think I do.
But
it was. It was an incredibly generous.
Yeah, they helped. They made it nice.
Yeah, and they wanted it to be nice.
Yeah,
and they wanted to give filmmakers sort of at my level who's done. Diplomacy I spent a lot of my own money on it, and it looks good, but it's very contained, and it's it's all in one room, and production value costs money, and they want these to look good, and I was very excited to have the opportunity to make something more visually emphatic and beautiful and designed, things that you can't do on a shoestring.
So they called you up and said you're in based off of the treatment.
Yeah, I did a treatment that was very well received by the people at Lexus and the Weinstein Company, because this was like a joint initiative between the two. And then I wrote the script first. I think there were like a couple finalists, and I wrote a script, and I had a conference call with David Glasser, the CEO of the Weinstein Company, after which I got the gig. And it got greenlit. So it was very much like doing a studio project.
Cool.
Which I never
so when was that?
That was in like February or early March.
Okay, so they said yes in March, and
filmed it at the end of March. It was very fast.
Really?
Yeah. I think the green light was, I don't know, maybe a month before the shoot.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then when did they say you have to deliver the film by?
Well, it was the deadline. They wanted to premiere the films at the Tokyo's Short Shorts Film Festival, which was late May. So that kind of defined the post schedule.
And so the world premiere was in Tokyo.
The world premiere was in Tokyo.
And you also, when did they have? If they shot, okay. When did you get the mentors? Did the mentors sessions happen before you shot?
It was
sort of
not really.
So some of the mentorship stuff happened editorial, it impacted along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But you basically did have positive experiences with the mentors.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the mentors that you met with. Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. How did that go?
He was super energetic and knowledgeable about short films. I remember he told me, my film kind of recalled the old film The Shop Around the Corner to him in a way that I hadn't really thought about that film and kind of the love story there in the market environment. And he spoke really eloquently about a lot of different short films and directors who got their start in short films.
Right.
He's got such a reputation, he's such a ball of energy, but I thought it was fantastic. He actually imparted quite a bit of information.
I imagine he's produced some milestones for world culture.
Yeah.
And that's not an overstatement,
He's a force for good.
Yeah, exactly. So and then who else? Philip Noyce?
Yeah, Philip Noyce, who was great and sort of had he's got a real gentle personality, but with a real kind of backbone, and he's made some great films. Rabbit Proof Fence is probably my favorite.
Right.
Quite American, yeah. I remember I asked him about, music is a big part of this film.
Yeah, it
my
is.
film, and his films have a lot of really good music too. And I remember asking him about the score for Rabbit Proof Fence, which is by Peter Gabriel. It's a really, really cool score.
Cool.
And I asked him like what that collaboration was like, and he told me a funny story that he actually was making Rabbit Proof Fence and The Quiet American. They came out in the same year, and I think he shot them back to back. So both of those projects were kind of going forward at roughly the same time, and he offered them both to Peter Gabriel to score, and said, "Look, I'm doing 2 films this year. One I can pay you for. The other is like this independent Australian film that we don't really have much money for. But take a look at both scripts and let me know." And Peter Gabriel was like, "I want to do the one you have no money for."
That's awesome.
And did a really, really awesome
What a
score for that film.
what a great story. So who else was it? You have 5 mentors? What was it?
I don't know how many mentors I have.
Everybody was telling you, giving you advice. You're like, some PA was giving you, and it's like, "Are you an Alexis mentor?"
Yeah, they're just.
No, I'm just a PA.
They're everywhere you look. These mentors.
But Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes was.
Which is an interesting mentor. I mean, on this, because she's an actress, but she's not. It's not like, and she's a very good actress, but she's younger. So you think, how's she gonna mentor storytelling? But man, she probably had some. I thought about it. I thought she probably had.
Yeah, and she's. I think this was after we talked, but she. And I read in the trades that she's attached to direct movies, so like she's interested in directing, and she's got a ton of experience, obviously, on sets, and she was smart, and she had a lot of interesting insights and things to talk about. It was great. It was great to talk to her.
Oh, I imagine she had a lot. You go in with all these expectations for all these people that you're going to meet, and then they always end up, sort of doing much better than. That seems to be my experience.
Antoine Fuqua was another of the mentors, and
he's in Pittsburgh, right?
He was in Pittsburgh shooting Southpaw, Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie,
right,
for the Weinstein Company, and he did Training Day, which is such an awesome movie,
right.
And I liked talking to him. His stuff is so visceral and action driven, which is not my forte or interest. I mean, it is an interest of mine, but it's not, dialogue is something I'm comfortable, like I know how to do, but like action, there's some action in Market Hours that was tricky to shoot, and I didn't know how complicated it was going to be. So I talked to him and asked him a lot of questions about shooting action and like his approach to that and choreography, and so it was interesting to
there was a very muscular physical dynamic to this to Market Hours, and I could see that probably after you talk to him, it's like, okay, I can like do some stuff here. So very good. So we are isn't this fun? Very interesting man here we've got, and very proud of him. He's the real deal. So what we're going to do is Mike's going to give you the
we can't really post links in the chat but we'll put in Market Hours. We're going to tell them what to type into YouTube to get to it.
Okay. So what we're gonna do, we can't, if we post a link in the chat, I guess it goes funky. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out how to do that. But what we want you guys to do is we're gonna send you over to the Market Hours short. And we're going to let you watch it. We're going to take 15 minutes. That includes, is it 15 minutes with credits, or is it a little longer than that?
No, it's 14 with credits.
Okay, so 15 minutes. We're going to give you 15 minutes because I want you to watch the short. It's on YouTube. It's on Vimeo. It's on a few places, but you might just do the short version and go to YouTube and put in Market Hours Lexus, and you'll see it'll pop right up, and it's the one that has over 1 million views in like the last 10 days, and so why don't you guys go over there, and we'll come back in 15 minutes, and then we can we'll get in and ask some questions, and you can ask anything from John about anything we've been talking about, and then we'll also talk about We'll also talk about market hours too. So it'll be really fun. So go check out this very special short, and then we'll come back. Okay? All right. Hey everybody, we're back. So it looks like you guys are already starting to talk about it. And neat that Randall gets it all in the end. What did you guys? So you tell us about so you get to the point where people are just going to give you the comments. Okay, you get to the point where you are going to shoot. Did you pick the location? Now talk us about this bit, because that's awesome.
Yeah, the Grand Central Market in downtown LA is amazing, and that was the genesis of the story, was the location. I was down there in January around the time I got the call, and had been thinking what an incredible space it was and how I'd love to shoot something here. And again, when I got that call looking for a story, I thought, well, there's a budget here, so I could maybe film something in this, extravagant, incredible location, and came up with a story that would exploit the location.
So now, did you shoot overnight?
Yeah, we shot nights, and thank God, by the way, the producers were able to secure the location, because
of course
I wrote it for the location.
Yeah, there's no
without
way.
the location, there wouldn't have been a film.
Now, how many nights was it?
We've shot 3 nights, 3 consecutive nights.
Okay.
And it was, there's a lot of scenes, a lot of setups, even in that location. So it was a race. It was probably more of a 6-day schedule, but we did it in 3 days.
Wow. I mean, it is really. For you to put that together, like, now that I know that you shot it at the end of March after not knowing about Lexus at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is crazy, because that, just the shot list and everything and composing everything, that's quick stuff. I mean, how did that talk about that? Because this is not like, let's put the master up, let the actors act, and then move on. It's like you were doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I wanted to do something that was, crafted visually, and that was visual storytelling.
Right.
If there's anything I wanted to prove, it was, as opposed to my last short film, which is very dialogue-driven, that I could tell a story visually. So, a lot of the not the specific shots, but even like the pace and kind of the color and the tone of it was in my head from the treatment phase. It was really like, early on, based on images. And then I worked with a fantastic DP, Jimmy Whitaker, who shot Thank You for Smoking and Wayne Kramer movies.
Wow.
And such a sweet guy, and so good, and does a lot of commercials, and knows storytelling from his work in independent film, and also knows how to work fast, and has a great team, great crew from all of his work in commercials. So, and it was just a good collaboration where he loved what I was trying to do. We had all the same references in terms of films and filmmakers who we were inspired by, and it was a cool collaboration because he brought it to the next level, and we just kind of were like one brain, kind of going back and forth to design those shots.
So what? Talk about casting. You found this. Did you have that guy in mind right out of the gate? He's really, what a special performer. I mean, he's incredible. Such presence on the screen.
Yeah, Leonard Howes, really, really wonderful human being.
Tell everybody where they've seen him.
Yeah, you guys may have seen him. He was in the Barbershop movies. He was in a TV show called Memphis Beat. I think it was on for a couple seasons. And you've seen him in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
He's just a regularly
hired a lot
character actor, and also he does a lot of commercials. So you'll see his face. I think he's got a Geico commercial going, running right now.
Right.
And he's great. He's a friend, and he's somebody I've known for a long time, wanted to work with for a long time, and I wrote it for him. I mean, he's got this great physicality and this great kind of theatricality. I couldn't have done it without him, just like I couldn't have done it without the location.
And I'm going to throw a little reference at you, and you're probably going to be like, it's just, and I'm not a reference guy, but I just happened to see this movie at Berlin a few years ago, Gigante. You ever heard of it?
No.
It actually was distributed here, but it's about a security guard in a grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's a different movie, but I immediately thought of Gigante, and it actually got U.S. distribution. But you should,
I'll check it out.
Really good. It's actually a pretty good movie. Okay, well, I just thought I'd try because you're very literate, so I think maybe you'll get that like total out of left field. So, what about the rest of the people? You've got a lot of different faces in there. I loved the authentic L.A. I love L.A. movies where people are like, look, it's not, everybody lives in the Palisades or something. A bunch of white people, because really, LA's Angelinos are not mostly Caucasian. They're mostly not. So I love that. That was awesome.
And again, that's representative of the place. It's part of what drew me to it is not just the place, but the moment in time in this place. That market has been there for 100 years. And there are vendors who've been in there for generations. There's like a Chinese drugstore and, Hispanic grocery stores and taquerias and stuff. But what's happening now is it's undergoing this revitalization and gentrification, and there's the hip coffee shop and delis that are moving in, and it's booming. Like business is booming down there, and it's just LA. It's just LA in microcosm. So the casting, the diversity of the casting was very unforced. I mean, it was just the way to reflect what was already in that space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's important to represent the actress and the barista, because that is part of LA, but it's not all of LA.
Right,
so
right. Yeah, it was you had the little that aspect that I think people pick up from media, which is sort of the actress character or whatever, that struggling artist, writer, screenwriter, barista guy or whatever. But everybody else is like, your lead people are Angelinos. So that was really awesome, and I really liked. I didn't, at first I didn't pick up on the. I thought, is he able to read their minds? Did anyone else have that? And then I sort of read the synopsis, and I thought, I think he's, and I was like, I think that he's thinking what they might be thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an ambiguity that was there by design, because I like planting ambiguities if they make you kind of watch more closely and want to figure out what's going on. You're not quite sure. That to me is like effective storytelling, because you have questions in your head, and I think it's meant to even be a little ambiguous at the end, but that kind of came out of it was a natural ambiguity that arose from the device of having these different thoughts. But yeah, I mean, you kind of figure out halfway through, once he's voicing them out loud, that it's just his imagination. But maybe there's more to it. I mean, he does. Not to go all sci-fi, but that last scene where he's kind of where we're hearing her thoughts, they are her thoughts, and it's all about wondering what other people are thinking, and the connection when you actually are right and you kind of know what somebody's.
Well, that's what I mean. I thought at the end it was like that's what happens when you start to get in. That's the beginning of intimacy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you start to like have that connection. You're like, we're on the same page.
You do know what somebody else.
And Gary Cole was also in there.
Awesome actor. Such a coup to get him for this. I wrote him this letter. I just said, look, I'm a huge fan. We're shooting this thing. We can shoot you out in one night. Can you just come down and play with us? And and he was game. And,
that is so funny.
And he was so good. And that was actually the first scene that we shot up in that office. And,
yeah.
And it was great to start that way, because, again, I was not so comfortable with a lot of the physical, visual stuff, but just the dialogue scene, like that's kind of what I am more comfortable with. So it was a great way to start, just to work with him and Leonard in that office scene.
Mm. So okay, well we're going to answer some of your questions now. So you guys are going to start. I know you're already asking questions, and But if you now's the time to start writing them out. Mike's going to take your questions, and we're going to start getting some question.
I think Miranda might have already sent you something.
Well, she sent me 2 questions total. Is that all we got?
No, there are 2 emails.
Yeah, okay. We have another thing. Okay, well, very good. The first question is, who cares about shorts? Which I think is not who cares about shorts, but where is the marketplace? Where do you see it? And also speak to this, the fact that Lexus is in, well, we'll talk about more about that, but where does shorts play now in this world right now? 2014 audiences, where are the venues?
I mean, internet. It's like that's what the internet is almost made for. It's, and a 15-minute or 11-minute without credits short film is actually long in that environment.
Right.
But, we all have screens all the time, and we all have little pockets in our day where we can watch something. I mean, I find myself, even at night, like I'm more likely to watch a 1-hour drama than a 2-hour movie just because short is sweet.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, this is my 3rd short film, and just looking at how revitalized the short film form has become over those years, I mean, it's striking, because 10 years ago when I did the first one, I played festivals and then it was on iTunes, but, it just wasn't such an art form that was getting seen, and I feel like now it's really coming into its moment.
Yeah, and the thing is that a guy like me who grew up without a cell phone at all, and without Facebook or anything like that, and I don't reflectively take out my phone and watch something, whereas I'm just starting to do that. I still sort of sometimes go, well, I can watch, and I don't really know that, whereas I know, my nieces and nephews are like, they see it as another screen.
Yeah.
And so that's where they. What was the name of John's winning script? Well, we put that up there. It's called Escher. You guys probably have seen a lot of Escher's work, but what a great script that was. Batch of reactions to okay, so these are some of the reactions to the short, which I think Mike called for, but might have been a disaster as we read them out in front of the auteur sitting here. The author's here. Okay, I like the subtext of the conversation. It turned into a race for happiness. Strong. I love the composition, lighting the end. He just all of a sudden turned on the jets. That's very funny. Very well shot. Audio might have been the best part, not just the music, but the attention to all sounds.
Yeah. Down to clicking of this radio. Tell us about the sound mix and how did that go, the post, because this, man, is so important. Yeah, it was, and it was, again, a big thing that I wanted to explore and tell the story through sound in a way that I hadn't done. Worked at a place called Sonic Magic in Culver City, and they were amazing, and they... again, it was just finding ways to tell a story through sound, and there were a lot of ideas that kind of came about like in that phase that I didn't really know I would do, like having the voices sort of segue into Randall's own voice when we're pushing in on him, writing in his journal to sort of bring home that idea that this is all in his imagination, or it's being kind of like transmuted in his imagination. That's all through sound. Yeah. And getting voice actors to do all those voices of that we hear in their head, and and then just the mix was done, a full theatrical mix. Great, mixer, guy named Jonathan Wales, who's done a lot of really great movies, and there was. Again, really strong collaborators. Wow. Yeah, you had everybody there. Okay, excellent. What a great location. Neat that Randall gets it all in the end. I just wish it would have gotten a little brighter at the end. I wonder what that means. I just wish it...
What is that? Well, can you clarify that? I just wish it would have gotten a little brighter at the end. Do you want it to be like daytime or like sun coming up or? Escher is not posted online, I don't think. I think he's holding out. He's going to maybe try and make that one day. So, but if you reach out and find John somewhere on the internet, you know, you could ask him, and maybe if you're persistent, he might earn your trust. And
I'm not that hard to find.
Yeah, and you can. He'll send you the script maybe. I just wish. Okay, I think this security guard was well characterized. I felt like I understood him by the end. The beginning was cool. Okay, so we have so many other reactions. I want to get to these. At first, it seemed like he was reading people's minds, but it seemed more like he was imagining what they were thinking by the end. He's the type to look at random people on the street and come up with stories for them. Well, I'm the type of that. Aren't you that type? I think everybody does that. That's what's cool about it. I think it's a universal thing, really. You're looking at everybody and being like, I bet that's what they're all about. You know?
It's a writer thing to do.
Yeah. I like the product placement of the car. The whole process was fun to watch unfold. Very cool story. What I didn't care for was the structure. It seemed like it was sort of meandered in some places before the dog gets loose, and his running into the kid was too convenient for me. Okay. Wonder if the short screenplay would have beaten Wing's short script from last year. The winner. I don't know. Who knows? They're totally different. Of course, we don't have to figure that out because they both won. He just made his movie, and she... Cool story. Love the main character, and I'm interested to see where it is going. Has only got 7 minutes when you came back. Simple but unique concept of a story. Loved it. Must admit, though, it was going downhill with the slow-mo dog chase. But the twist of Randall bumbling into the thief made the watch worthwhile. We all like our hero to win in the end. He's a very sympathetic guy. You got a very sympathetic protagonist, which is, man, that's not shooting fish in a barrel. You know, you can often screw that up and people, you're like, why didn't you like him? And everyone's like, we don't like him, you know. So what about that slow motion and all that stuff? Was that do you always know you were going to do that, or?
Yeah, I did. That was just that idea of juxtaposing what is sort of ridiculous,
right,
and chaotic with this beautiful music.
Yeah.
It was an original composition.
Oh, that's cool.
Christopher Tin, really, really great composer who I've worked with on all my shorts.
Oh, that's great.
Wrote that. The rest of the music was a different and really also wonderful composer, Darren Johnson, who did the jazz score. But yeah, that scene was always in my head as like, it's such an interior, all the storytelling is really Randall's view of the market and of reality, which is kind of this heightened, magical, romantic view of something that's kind of mundane. You know, he's a security guard at a market.
Right.
And in that sequence, even though he's just chasing after a dog and making a big mess, it's like a heroic moment of glory. And so the music and the slow-mo kind of heightens that and conveys that. And I thought it would be funny and beautiful and kind of you know, just bring you into his world.
Well, I like it because sort of small or not so epic moments or everyday moments, you know, that's what we live most of our lives, but they do have sort of tissue that's attached to great mythical large things, and it's like, and I think that's the thing, is even in the process of him doing that, it's like he's doing this little thing, but it ends up being something that really can end up being something that's going to reflect on his whole life, and it becomes a huge act, and it becomes, you know, so so I love that stuff.
Yeah, he's proving something.
Yeah, grading was unusual, lighting was dark. Guess that was the mood. They keep mentioning the lighting. Maybe it's just your monitor or something, because it was supposed to be nighttime too.
I mean, it's dark. It's dark with a lot of bright fluorescent color, and that was the idea, because that's what the market is. It's a night market with neon,
right?
And so that was sort of what we went for.
Leonard House, I liked him even on silent. He draws you into the story. Definitely like the mix of ethnic groups represented. The security guard struck me. I made a little something last year. It had different ethnicities in it, and people that are represented and can really identify, you get that reaction. And when, like a guy like me, I'm not really aware, and then, suddenly it's like, you realize it's like, yeah, it means something when people can mirror more closely what's the characters. Security guard struck me as the type of person who liked being around people, but didn't know how to talk to them, so he creates stories for them as means to get to know them. There are a lot of interpretations people are really giving you, but
right.
This is good. Everyone's these are good. How did you focus on Escher among your other ideas? Tell us about why you were that, a little bit about that project.
It's interesting because even back then, I was.
This is by the way, he won in 2003 for Escher. If people are just joining us, this is our John Goldman, our 2003 BlueCat winner. We've been talking about his current thing that he did this year with Alexis and the Weinstein Company. He made a short called Market Hours, and we just watched it. I know some people are joining and leaving and stuff, but this is we're talking about Escher, which is the script that won BlueCat 11 years ago. So just to give a little context to we're taking him back a good decade to when we're talking about that.
Yeah. No, I always loved Escher's work. It's full of illusion and kind of creates this whole fantastical world that is impossible, topologically impossible, but feels really rich and specific. And so I guess I just wanted to go into his imagination and write something that would be really visual. And I wrote it kind of around his work. And I remember I included the lithographs in the script, which is like you're not supposed to do. And I did it, and it was because it was almost like a reference. Like you need to see the pictures in order to understand what is being described in the screenplay. So even though I've gotten to be more of a dialogue-y kind of writer and director, it's interesting to think back to how interested I was in pure visual storytelling even then. There's like a weird through line to what I'm interested in now.
Well, it's a very challenging person to write about because in a screenplay, how are you going to manifest, describe how awesome without actually showing, and I guess that probably led you to having the picture. Is the script for Escher posted online? It's not posted online, but John has suggested that if you do reach out to him, he might be willing to share with you, maybe. At the end of the short, did you want to make it romantic?
Yeah, and actually, to an extent, the one thing that changed in the script from the script stage to the post-production stage was that dialogue, or that imagined dialogue, in that scene and in the earlier scene where it's just him and Angela looking at each other. And the original dialogue was a little more on the nose, actually, to make it romantic. And I wanted to pull back from that and make it more about a connection that's formed. And it could be romantic, but it's I like leaving a little bit more of that to the audience to decide what's going on, what story is beginning here. But for me, I decided what it was about. For me, it's the story of somebody being noticed and being seen for who he is, which is kind of this beautiful, comical guy with a great vision and a soul. And she notices him. She sees him not just as this security guard who's kind of looking at her, but as a wonderful person.
Right.
And that's what it's, for me, that's what it's about.
Yeah. I mean, I totally got that. I think you sell that visually so well. Okay, a few more questions. Feel free to ask questions about writing or anything you'd like to ask about, his process or something.
I see some questions here. That's pretty hilarious.
If you get, well, Mike, are you getting all these questions?
Yeah, Miranda is
taking care of it.
Miranda, I don't know if she's getting all the questions because we're seeing some interesting ones up there. Well, let's go to that one. If you get asked to do Star Wars, will you turn it down? Are you implying because he's an independent voice guy, or I don't think that's what he meant by that, but I think it is. I don't know what's your question. It's hard with the context, but I have a feeling what he means is he wants to do the things he wants to do, and he feels 100%, 150% passionate about, and it might be working with a larger studio entity if that's his vision, but. Yeah.
I would be terrified if I was asked to do Star Wars, because I believe in taking on challenges and growing as a director incrementally, and so there were things that were pushing my comfort level with this one, and I very deliberately wanted for my first feature something that's technically pretty simple. So I'd like to get there. Maybe episode.
Well, you can
12.
You could direct episode 12, and then like 15 years after that, they'll make weird documentaries about how you failed a nation of fans, and it was like, why can't people make new Star Wars? Okay, is this going to go all Star Wars? I mean, what's cool is that now that Lucas has sold everything. You could actually go in and be like, there's a lot of weird stuff that could happen. I mean, why can't we do like the origin of Chewbacca? A whole planet of Chewbaccas, and just figure that out. I'm sure there's. I know you guys are going to kill me. I'm sure there's already like 1 million graphic novels about Chewbacca that I haven't read yet. But did you get to sit in on all aspects of the production and offer input or make the final decisions? I mean, where did the Lexus Weinstein producing entity sort of cut you off at the pass? I mean, you don't have to get in any dirt, but
there's no dirt actually.
Yeah, cool.
The answer is just yes. I was empowered to direct the whole thing. It wasn't taken away at some point, or it was a collaborative process, and there was input at every stage, and it was good input, especially in the post phase. But yeah, I mean, I saw it through from beginning to end, and learned a lot. And I was very passionate about the film and didn't want to miss anything. So there were things where it's like, oh, do you want to be there for this? And like, of course I want to be there for that.
That's cool.
Yeah, to make sure nothing gets screwed up.
Yeah, you were like, okay, I think yes. Yeah. The answer is yes. Did you want to make more of a connection between the baker and the security guard? I'm not sure, because I feel like the connection was made there. We got a lot of questions though. John, after doing a script like Escher, do you then push all of that completely out of your mind for the next project, or do some aspects carry through?
I do push things out of my mind to move on to the next thing. And I tend to kind of oscillate from like doing one thing to doing something completely different, and taking on a new challenge, something I don't feel like I'm good enough at yet, is what I want to do for the next project. So I guess any aspects that carry through are probably there, but yeah, I like to definitely put things away and move on.
Mm. Cool. All right. What software was used for the color correction? That's a good question.
That is a good question. It was Nucoda, I think, which actually, I don't know. It was on Diplomacy, that was color corrected on a DaVinci, and I think I kind of liked the DaVinci better.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Nucoda. Is that right?
I don't know. Yeah. Nucoda, does that make sense? All right. So what's next for you? Where do you go from here? You were talking about that on the break a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, I've got a number of scripts that I've written and I'm trying to get going. There's a feature. I wrote a pilot, a 1-hour drama pilot that I'm trying to get going. And yeah, just sort of, honestly, I need to write another script because this has been great and I've been really busy with it and taking it around and showing it, and I'm kind of at the point where I need to face the blank page again because it's just time.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, any other questions? Do we have any other more coming. Yeah. So well, very good. I think we might have another one. No. Do we have any other questions?
I think we're caught up.
Okay, we're all caught up. Well, let's see. Does he? Why can't people make new Star Wars? So what's next for you? Do you feel 2003 opened the right doors? Probably not. BlueCat was pretty humble at that time. It was a smaller competition. We were a few years old, but we did sort of support him with helped. He had the reading. We were there, I don't think that. I really think the thing is that John was one of our early winners, and he's one of the ones that goes back that almost since 2003, everybody who has won is like John, is active and is professional and is doing work and has done really well. He's sort of the bellwether guy. But at the time, BlueCat was a very young competition, and so there wasn't a lot of clout with the industry with BlueCat now, as there is now. I mean, now there's a lot more. We can send an email to the top managers and agents, and they'll ask for all the scripts, and that was a lot more difficult like 10 years ago because we didn't have people like you.
Right.
Now we have people. All they have to do is look and see that we have this laundry list of alumni people that have all these things that they've done, and so. Yeah, so I jumped in because I didn't want to put John on the spot because I don't think BlueCat really crushed it for him, in a palpable thing. But the thing that what you were always doing was affirming people, and that's huge.
That matters. I mean, I was telling a friend of mine today on the way over here, just sort of reminiscing about this. I remember a picture I took of the check when I was living with my friend, because it was that's the first time I got money for something I'd written, and that's huge. It's like you post your first dollar bill on the store of your restaurant or something. It's really meaningful.
Right. And I mean that's really that's why we have really strict rules about winners that come in, and we want people to all be discoveries because we know that at least we can affirm people and say the message is always you should keep working.
You
keep
you're doing
writing.
The right thing.
Yeah, you're going in the right direction. It's always. I would always think in the first years, it would be the kind of thing that it would buy a few years from the family from harassing the writer.
It's very much about that.
It's sort of like, okay, I'm not crazy. Other people think that I'm
somebody other than your mother thinks that you're good at this.
Yeah. How long is the Escher film? It's a script.
Yeah, the script. It's feature length. I can't remember. Probably 110 pages, something like that.
Is it okay to ask the budget of market hours?
No.
It's okay to ask.
It's okay to ask.
You just can't tell. He's just not able to tell. But clearly, he was well supported by this opportunity. I mean, we can all see that. So that's just that in and of itself is wonderful.
And I'll say two things about it. The sky wasn't the limit. It's not like do whatever you want. We'll find a way.
You didn't have lobster or craft sir. No. A little lobster sandwich.
And the other thing is that when you're doing something with the Weinstein Company and Lexus behind it, you pay. You have to. It's not you have to. You pay people. So on my first short film, it's like film school students, and even on the second one, which had professional crew, they're working on the weekend for free as a favor because it was a cool project. But when if you're as a key grip or as whatever, if you're being asked to do, it's a job. So you pay people, and that's how it should be. It's if Lexus and the Weinstein Company are behind it, they should get paid for their work. So a lot of the money just goes to paying technicians and everybody who works in the film what they should be paid to do their craft. So a lot of the money just goes towards people's jobs.
Okay, well, this is a good one. What is your writing method? Index cards everywhere? Do you outline, beat sheets? What's your general? I mean, it's going to be different for other things, but generally, can you speak to that?
I'm not such an index card guy. More, I kind of go back and forth between. I try to tell the story to myself on paper in a sort of treatment-y
Okay.
way. And then when I'm writing, I kind of go back and forth between outlining beats and writing the script. I don't really do an outline first because I just get impatient to start finding the story in the script. But then I start writing the script and I get to a certain point where it's like, oh, wait a minute, I don't really know what I'm doing or where this is going. And then I'll sort of revisit the beat sheet and the outline. So it's kind of weird. I kind of start writing the script to help me figure out the outline and then go back to the script and go back and forth.
That's great.
It's a total mess.
So, well, it's just, but, you're flexible, and you need to be flexible with yourself, and it sounds like you go back and forth. Did John get to drive the Lexus?
I didn't. I'll tell you guys a few funny things about the Lexus. So the Lexus was, I think it's an RCF. I think that's the model, and I think it's still not out. So it was a prototype. Really cool. And they had to find it because there weren't. I think some of this may be wrong, but I think they had debuted it at the Detroit Auto Show, and there were a couple of these concept cars that existed, and so they found this white one, and it was in a crate in New York, and they had to transport it cross country in 48 hours to arrive in time for our shoot.
Oh my God.
And it didn't have, because it was a concept car, it didn't have a real engine. It had like a golf cart engine.
Oh my.
So it drove, but I think it couldn't go over 30 miles an hour. Luckily, I didn't have a high-speed chase in the film. And so I didn't drive it, and I really wouldn't have.
So it was a Lexus golf cart in the short. Okay, well, now we get the truth.
Yeah. So no, I did not.
But you didn't get a free Lexus at the end of this or anything. Okay, we just wanted to make sure that was the last. You know what? We're going to sign off with John. Thank you so much for coming in, John.
Yeah.
Give me a shit. It's so cool. And everybody, if you got any more questions, let us know. We'll send them over to John. We can always have him back, in a little while, and he can tell us more about what's going on with his with where he's at and stuff. And everybody, I love it. Thank you, John. Yeah, this has really been special. It was really unexpected, and this will be, if you missed any of this really good interview, this is going to be posted on YouTube. More importantly, both of his first two shorts, Kind of a Blur and Diplomacy, are both on iTunes. And it'd be cool because you can see where first short, second short, we've just heard how the production, the parameters changed and how he developed and evolved. It would be nice. There's a nice little case study. He also said that he might be willing to potentially maybe send you the script from Escher that won in 2003, and you can check that out. And then, of course, you just watched Market Hours. If you didn't check it out, it's over there, and make sure a lot of people see it. The more people see it, the more chance that Lexus will come back and do this program and continue to do these programs. I'm sure Lexus is going to do it again.
I hope so.
Because there's so million hits, and they got to be happy with that. That it really makes them look great, and they did a really good thing. So it was really cool. So
share it. Share it on Facebook.
Yeah. Share it if you put it on your Facebook wall, tweet it out. Put it on your Instagram or whatever, but just help support John and BlueCat and our artists here. So very proud of John. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah,
we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to bring in Caitlyn Brown, one of our finalists from this year, and she's going to talk about her journey this year since she was at the top of the pile and with BlueCat. So, all right, we'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody, and we'll talk to you then, okay? Hello, we're back. What's going on, everybody? Took a little breaky McBreaker, and because we're doing a huge thing tonight. It's an epic situation.
What does he do?
Hey, you know who's here? Johnny's here. Johnny, come on over. Yep, there's Johnny. You guys all love this guy, and it's a mystery. So, okay. Okay, so very good. We're all back. Everyone's like, is he back yet? Yeah. Okay. Just a reminder: 11:30 to 1:30 tonight. Yeah, Johnny, he's the best. Everyone's into Johnny. Well, Johnny's here, and he's going to be, I don't know, doing something. I'm not sure what he does. But if you want to let him go, that's cool too. Yeah, I know. It's like, I don't know. Deadline Saturday. Johnny's still here, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, tonight 11:30 to 1:30, you guys. I'm gonna go late night for our friends over in Australia, and Sydney and India and Hawaii and other places that they're still awake. And then you know zombies that are out there and out in the East Coast that are still awake at like 4 in the morning. Fire him live on Ustream. Everyone just wants me to take Johnny down. I know. Get the hell out of here, Johnny. No, we're gonna keep Johnny a little bit because Century then rehire him on YouTube. That's nice. Then Century has gone out for a second, so we had to bring in Johnny, which always it's like quality always sort of drops a little bit, but. So anyways, well, fun and games. John was great, right? John Goldman. See, that's what it is, everybody. BlueCat has a track record. We have been picking talented people for a long time. We have a good, strong history, and there's John Goldman. It's just like, what an impressive guy. And we're very proud that he's part of our nice group of people, we want to try. We're gonna get other people in here, man, because we've got some people that you guys are gonna be like, wow. John Goldman is awesome. We got other people that we have had winners. We're gonna get other people in here that are just gonna be fun people to talk to. John is really smart. That's usually what everybody, all the people that win are usually really smart, and I secretly hate that. I don't want them to be smart. I want to be smarter than them, but they're always smarter than me. And it makes me weird and sad. Mike, why are they always smarter than me, Mike?
Maybe they are? No, I'm just kidding.
Mike just threw me under the bus. Mike.
Kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, joke alert. Okay. Well, very good. Bring them up, pull them down. U.S. culture. I don't know. I think that's not. I think that's not. You know what? Did I ever show you? No, I did. I don't know if I showed you that last night. Did I show them the invisible jet last night?
I don't think so. No.
Oh my God, you guys, look at this. This is a invisible jet, a Wonder Woman invisible jet that Mattel made, and there's actually nothing in the package. It's just like empty. The impression is there, but there's no toy. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for this on eBay. I will not tell you. But it is so awesome. And Olivia, Olivia, she is our reader coordinator and also loves all the toys that I like to buy. She friggin' loves this. Yes, it's totally real. This was given away. Is it true Aaron Guzikowski is going to direct a Universal monster film? I don't know. Do we hear anything on Aaron? Can you check the news alert on that? I would not be surprised. This thing was given away at the San Diego Comic-Con in 2010 as sort of an April Fool's joke, and now it's like this super duper highly collectible thing. And I found out about it, and like the jackass that I am, I actually got it. And but Olivia is totally into it, so we love these. In fact, now that I got one, I want to have a fleet. You know what I mean? Oh, he's going to write Wolfman. That is so awesome. What? Oh, so that happened today. That happened today. Thank you for letting us know. He's not going to direct it, but he's going to write the Wolfman movie. That is because Universal. That's a Universal property. That's an old property. So, well, it's listed for a lot more than what I bought it for, but it was a lot. I'm gonna buy. Don't you want a fleet of jets? I don't want just one jet. Okay, I want a fleet. I want like 16 jets. Anyways, I'm weird and I've lost it. Aaron Guzikowski! God, he is a superstar. We need to send out a blast on that. Mike, can you do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that tonight.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, let's send out the blast on that because that is so awesome. He's so nice. We have a great I know there's only one Wonder Woman, a fleet of empty cases. I know. We have a great interview with Aaron Guzikowski from last year. He did exclusive to BlueCat. And you know what? He was so busy when he did that doing his show. I bet you we'll be able to bring him in for a Ustream next year. At some time when he has a break, he will definitely do it because he's super nice guy and really talented, man. His script, Panacea, I think his script was a finalist in 2004. And I still remember reading that script. So good. Anyways, all right, folks. Yeah, Prisoners was really good, and yeah. Well, I'm telling you, he did a really good. Didn't he do a great interview with us?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I read it too.
Yeah, it's a good interview. I mean, he was very generous, and it was awesome. So, okay. Well, you know what we're going to do now, everybody? You can see her sort of buy my eBay packages. You see all those packages over there? Those are eBay packages. Look who's waiting. We had 5 finalists this year. You know how BlueCat works. We take the top 5, and they all win $2,500, except for the winner. So there's 4 finalists. They all get $2,500, and then there's the grand prize. And we had our top 5 this year. We had an incredible. You met Henry Crumb. You met Savion Einstein. She won the Joplin Award, and we had 6. We had 6 out of the top 11 writers that were all won, finalist winners. 6 of them were from LA, and so we did table readings of all 6. And Caitlyn Brown was the only woman who was one of our finalists this year. And we did a reading during the day, and then we did another one at night. And we brought it, and I'm telling you, hers was like crazy. Room was packed of people. Her parents came. There was tons of people from her work, and we had all this food and wine, and it was such a night. It was such a special, fun night, and it was like really it was really a special time for BlueCat because all the people that were here that were local were just, everybody bonded and everybody was very supportive of everybody. And that's not always what happens. Everyone's always supportive, but it's like the chemistry was really cool. Everybody really liked each other, and then we all went out to dinner, and Mike came. I think Mike quit right after that. I think he got the free dinner and then he quit. And it was weird, and then we had to beg him to come back, and I think we're going to do a Ustream sometime just on the history of Mike at BlueCat because it would be interesting for you guys. But without further ado, let's bring over Caitlyn Brown, our 2014 finalist for Handbone. There she is. You know, her interview's online too. Look at her. Isn't she awesome? There she is. There's Caitlyn Brown. She is, yeah, we did a great interview with her. I think there's a great picture of me on Panacea was 2005. Thank you. 2005, and the winner for 2005 was Gary the tennis coach, and Gary the tennis coach was made into Balls Out with Sean William Scott. And the producer, this is a little trivia, everybody. The producer of Gary the tennis coach that won 2005, the BlueCat 2005 winner, that was made into Balls Out, was one of the producers for American Sniper, the Clint Eastwood movie with Bradley Cooper, and he's one of the producers that is. I think if that wins the Oscar, I think he goes up. He might be one of the three that goes up and gets the Oscar, and he was the one that who got the script. I gave him the script in 2005. That would be so awesome if that Sniper thing movie. The reviews are so good. Anyways, blah blah blah. Here's Caitlyn. So we did like a print interview with you.
Right.
Then we did like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your script is Handbone. And okay. So you've had some cool stuff happen. Tell us like a little bit of your journey, like your Hollywood journey, because you live in LA and you work in LA. So where are you from, and how did you get to LA, and what's your like sort of story?
Okay, cool. I'm from Orange County, and I went to Cal State Fullerton and for film and screenwriting, and unfortunately no internships from Fullerton really panned out, but I just knew I wanted to write, so I took some UCLA extension classes, which I hear that you're teaching now, which is great.
Yeah.
And I found a really good mentor there, Bonnie McBird. She's a really great teacher, and she really believed in me. And she actually sent me a link for an internship on Smallville, the TV show. And I sort of fudged the lines. Yeah, I fudged the lines and was like, yeah, I'm still, in school, blah, blah, blah. But I was really just taking extension classes. So, but
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of internships in LA where people are done with school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people are like, you're an intern.
Right.
And it's really, you're working for free.
Yeah.
So you can sort of work your way into a situation. And then, I mean, the industry is a mentorship-based industry.
It definitely is.
It's an apprenticeship industry. People get out of college, they get out of Harvard, and they come and they work in the mailroom because everything is sort of taught to you, and you have to watch and model after everybody. And so tell us what happened. So you sort of fudged your way into Smallville, and this is really the argument for living in LA. This is the argument for living in LA. When people say, well, you need to live in LA, you don't need to live in LA. This is some of the stuff that happens if you're actually local, and you're not really going to make this happen if you're living somewhere else. But then, not to depress everybody, but it is part of the benefit. If anyone's thinking like, should I move? I mean, I could, but I don't really know why. Well, this is sort of some of the reasons why. So you go ahead.
So then I was I was working, to make money on the side, but I would work at Smallville 3 days a week, and I would get in the writer's office. So I would get them coffee twice a day, and then I would get them lunch. I was basically doing like the PA job, but just not getting paid for it, right?
Right.
So I did that for a year, and got to know everyone, and I almost got an actual PA job there, but unfortunately, I didn't. Politics kicked in or whatever.
How competitive it is just to get a PA job.
It's
like in the because this was the writer's room, writing room. This is the writer's room, and you were trying to. Your goal is like, I want to write on this show.
Right.
Like if somebody said okay, and so you're like trying to angle in there, and that's how hard it is. You couldn't even get the paid job.
Right.
So what happened next?
However, that time there was still very valuable because I got to know all those writers. I still talk to a lot of them, and two of the executive producers went over and got their own show, which was Melrose Place.
Okay. So tell me about like the relationships and the fact that, you know, being nice and cool is like massive, right?
It's massive. You just have to basically, like, I mean, not be crazy, you know, and be a hard worker, not be, you know, a jack off or whatever. It's really important because when you're it's long hours in the writer's office. I mean, you can be there 12 hours, you know, just sitting in a room with people. It's like, who do you want to be stuck next to on the road trip? You know? Yeah,
and if it's like, so yeah, you don't want to. It's great. That's a perfect answer because it's like, it really is that. It's like, don't be crazy.
Right.
Don't be weird. Don't flake. Don't show up late. Don't, you know, be annoying. Don't like space invade. Yeah, keep the filter on what you're saying and know your place.
But be able to joke with people and like hang out. You know.
Right. So that had a lot to do with it. So people liked you, obviously, and then what happened? So after Smallville, these two producers, they were like involved with Melrose Place, the new one.
They were the creators of the new one, and they had already promised all the positions in the writer's office, but they were like, hey, you can come be a production PA, like that's open, and I was like, sure, I'd love to, you know, so. From there, I was a production PA on the pilot, and then when it went to series, I became the line producer's assistant. I bonded with the line producer that came in, and she bumped me up there. And then, you know, there was no openings in the writer's office or anything, but then that got canceled, and I was like, crap, now I don't have a job, you know. But then the line producer I worked with brought me over to Pretty Little Liars.
Okay.
And I was
Pretty Little Liars, when it started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
not the pilot, but the first season.
The first season. So Pretty Little Liars is on ABC Family, and so then what happens? So you get brought over there, and you are on set as a PA, or what's the story?
No, I'm the line producer's assistant. So I work with the line producer, and I work in the production office. So how it works on Pretty Little Liars is that the production office is right next to the writer's office. So I worked with Lisa for 2 years, and I got to, you know all the writers and you know, have kitchen conversations or whatever. And I let everyone know. Yeah, I let everyone know that I wanted to be a writer, and eventually, you know, I'd love to get over there. And you know, fortunately enough, someone did get bumped up. The script coordinator then got bumped up to staff writer, Janelle, and then everyone else got bumped up. So I got brought over as a writer's assistant.
Okay.
And they were nice.
And so what season were you a writer's assistant?
That was season 3 when I got brought over. Okay. So I had worked in production for 3 years. Okay.
So then finally season 3, you're finally like smelling the writer's room. You're like, sweet.
Right.
And you're a writer's assistant.
Yeah.
What does a writer's assistant do for somebody who's assisting? Like, so how many writers are on Pretty Little Liars?
We have 8 writers.
Okay, so there's 8 writers in a room. And they all have assistants?
No, a writer's assistant.
Oh, a writer's assistant, you're assisting everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Are you in the corner writing all those notes down all day long?
Yes, that's
oh my
what I
God.
do. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So tell them what that is. Okay. So this is what a writer's assistant does.
Yeah, so basically there's 8 people in a room, and we break a story. That's what we say. So say, you know, it's the first episode of the season. Everyone throws out ideas. You know, they're like, we want Arya's arc to be this. And then everyone pitches ideas, and I write them down. So that's called blue skying. So that's like the very general breakdown. And as we sort of land on things, that's what you say when the executive producers like an idea. You land on that idea. And then you write it on the board. And then basically I write all the notes that go with each idea under that headline. And eventually we get to cards. So we go from general blue sky ideas to character beats on the board. And then from there we put those beats onto cards. And then we put those cards on a cork board. And, you know, we get to, like, you know, move them around and make act breaks work, or if they don't work, and
develop the story until you're ready to, like, somebody's going to bang it out of the script.
Right. And the writer's assistant job is to make sure that that's all correct, make sure that what we land on is actually what we land on, so that the writer can take those notes and then go and then write the outline off of those notes.
So basically people are just talking, and then you're extrapolating a bunch of people just being like, what? and then you're just like, you've got to make it into a discernible roadmap.
Exactly.
So somebody can crank a script later.
Right.
And if it doesn't add up like 2 + 2 = 4, they're like, we need another writer's assistant. Right?
Yeah.
You're like Johnny. You're out.
Yep.
You're Johnny. You're out like Johnny.
Yep.
So, anyways, all right. Right, Johnny.
Johnny.
We love you, Johnny. Okay, but you're hanging by a thread. Okay. So, sheesh. Yeah. Handwriting. Okay. So, all right. So okay. So you do this. So that's what you did, and you did that from season 3 and season 4.
Correct.
For 2 seasons, you are just watching how every script on Pretty Little Liars is developed and cracked all the way until it's like, and you watch it on television, you're like, I remember when I was like, it was nothing, and they were just coming up with the ideas, and then you see it all the way through.
Right.
So what an education! So
Definitely,
this is why they can't really, you're in college and you don't really learn all that.
Oh, definitely.
When they give you a degree,
Yeah.
they're like, here, you can go do that. No, you actually have to be an apprentice in a sort of that dynamic, and you have to watch how it all happens.
Definitely. Yeah.
So so cool. So that's so awesome. And then so 2 years you did that, and then what happened?
And then I was bumped up to script coordinator this year. And script coordinating is basically you proof the script and you put the scene numbers on it, and you make sure that the pages are locked, and we do subsequent revisions. So in TV we have like the white production draft, and then you have blue pages, and then you have pink pages, and then you have yellow pages. So and you just have to make sure that everything collates, because if it doesn't collate properly, then you're basically screwed. So
did you ever have any times where you just totally botched it?
Not collating, I haven't, but there has been times I've heard stories of where they don't lock the pages, and then everything that they put in is all messed up. So you have to go back into the draft that you sent them and redo all the changes in a locked draft. So that's
That just sounds. Even you just telling me that, I just want to throw myself into traffic.
It's a big old headache.
It sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, does that sound like something you want to do?
It's scary. It's very scary.
It is scary. And then production's like on your heels, like, where's the script? Where's the script? Where's the script? And you're like, oh my god.
I mean, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's just. I mean, I just want to take a nap after that. Everything she just said in the last 5 minutes.
Right.
Do you want to take a nap?
Yes.
Well, you can't, because they're going to ask questions, and we really need you to stick with us, okay?
All right.
Johnny, what? Chin up, Johnny. Okay. All right. So right now you're the script coordinator for Pretty Little Liars, and you've done that for how many seasons?
This is my first season.
This is your first season.
Season 5, yeah.
Okay, season 5. How's the show going?
It's going great. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any fans of that show? ABC Family, Pretty Little Liars. There's a lot of. I mean, that's a big show, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really big. A lot of fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a spin-off, right?
There was a spin-off, Ravenswood, yeah, and that lasted for 10 episodes. So that was last year.
It didn't work out.
It got canceled. Yeah.
Nobody. Why do you think? What's the party line on why that didn't work out?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So I mean, but people just didn't respond to it. Obviously,
they just didn't respond to it as much.
So all right. So but meanwhile, you're like back home and you're cranking on your scripts, right? You're like trying to get stuff going.
Right.
So tell us how you got to BlueCat.
Well, I actually, in the little downtime that I have at work, I started writing Handbone, and I actually rewrote Handbone 3 times before you saw it. So it just wasn't working. But yeah, I get up early and I write, and then I also
what time of day do you write at work when?
Whenever there's downtime, sometimes there's the executive producers have to go into editing or do something,
and you're just sitting around.
and we're just waiting for them to come back in the room, and then that's a good time to
you can hang
to try to write.
Yeah, you can do some stuff.
Yeah.
Do you get up early in the morning a lot to write, or is it?
Not every day, but when I have an idea that I really want to try to push through, I do.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
So you now tell us where the idea come from. I know that it's a very personal script to you, and you're very, very invested in it. So tell us about that.
Right.
Tell us about what the movie is. It's called Handbone. Mm-hmm. What is that?
It is about this youth.
Well, but hold on, hon. Just for a second. I just want to make sure you guys, if you have any questions, don't wait. Just start asking the questions, and Mike will get them all down. So feel free, if you have anything you want to ask, go ahead and ask, and we'll get to them in a little bit. Okay. All right. So Handbone is the name of the script, and she's
right. And it's about this kid who's basically on the wrong path. He's like a gangster kid, sort of. He rescues a pit bull from an animal shelter, and unfortunately the dog gets pulled back into dog fighting, and Ricky has to go rescue the dog, and it's sort of like
set in LA,
and
kind of contemporary LA, but sort of East LA.
Like East LA, yeah. And sort of, by helping this dog, he becomes like a better person. And,
yeah, he's sort of lost in, it's a dog movie. It's a warm-hearted, very emotional. Everybody cries when they read it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mike, did you cry when you read Handbone?
Yeah, I actually did.
What did you?
No, I'm not just saying that either.
So
it was like legitimately.
I mean, it's awesome, right?
Very, very good.
I mean, it's just heartbreaking. Everybody, everyone loves Handbone. Yeah. So yeah, Caitlyn wrote this, but the thing is why did you write that?
I wrote it because I was crazy and I adopted a pit bull. When
was that crazy to adopt a pit bull?
Not crazy. Well, it's crazy because I had a 1-bedroom apartment, so it's like I don't know what I was doing. My boyfriend. How big was
the dog?
He was like 50 pounds when we got him. Now he's 80 pounds. He was like starving. He was like.
So you have an 80-pound pit bull in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, and we basically we got kicked out because they allowed dogs, but I didn't know of the breed restrictions.
Not like a gargantuan prehistoric awesome dog.
Awesome dog, no.
Like a massive dog that's just
right.
So they were like, I'm sorry.
They're like, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
So from there we ended up.
So you were like sort of a little Ricky.
Yeah.
You were sort of Ricky. You were changing.
Yes.
You were being you love that. You love your dog. I mean, it's just a huge thing.
And he's such a big baby. That's the thing. Like, here's this big gargantuan dog, but he's like such a baby, and he cuddles with me, and he cries when I'm in the shower, and it's like,
dude, relax.
Yeah.
I just gotta take a shower.
I know.
Right? Just reel it in.
And he cries. He's like.
I mean, it's funny because sometimes I leave and Mike will do that. He'll just start whimpering. You're like, Mike.
And then he paws at the door.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to come back. I mean, it's like, I'm coming back. I'm just going to Chipotle, Mike. Okay, I'll be back, dude.
How do I know? As soon as you leave, how do I know you're coming back?
You don't know if Mike was abandoned previously.
I don't know. He came in and he was like 120 pounds. And then we took him to Subway.
He started eating the couch.
Yeah, he got his weight back, So this sort of, you were like, I love my pit bull. Right. I want to write a movie about pit bull.
Yeah. I wanted to get that love that I feel for that dog into a script.
Yeah, which is so important, I think, for writers. It's like people they really just think that that's some sort of, like, oh, that sounds nice and fuzzy and everything else, but where's the beat sheet and all that stuff? And really, if you love your subject and it can be a motor for your piece.
Definitely.
It's like you're not going to run out of gas,
right.
Because you're always like, I love the dog, and then and you have this real connection and the emotional component that you have with the subject. It was very translatable to readers of your script and people that read it because. So if you have emotion of that level, then all of a sudden everybody else is like, Mike's in a corner, fetal ball. No, everybody cried. Everyone was like, oh, they love Handbone. So lovely script, adorable script. So you submitted to BlueCat, and then you got the call from Gordo. Right. Were you bummed? Like I remember you were stoked, and then we went out to lunch.
Super stoked. Yeah.
Yeah, we went out to lunch. That was really fun.
That was super fun.
Yeah, it was great. We went out to lunch, and it was so fun to meet you because you were like such a wonderful person, and it was so exciting to hear what you did, and you could see that this person was there. So okay, so we. And then we had the reading, and we talked about the reading and how you had your parents there, but we had people from your show there, and there were some friends, and it was supportive, and we gave notes.
Right.
You got a lot of notes that
night. Which was awesome. I'm actually doing the rewrite right now. So I just finished that pilot, and now I'm going through.
So, okay. So what happened with BlueCat? So you're at Pretty Little Liars, you're the writer, script coordinator, you just won this cool award, you're the top 5 out of 4,000 scripts, you're the only woman out of the 5. Wow.
I was super giddy.
Yeah, everyone's like, and so you're talking, and so we send out the log line, so we do our little industry thing, and so what happened when we did that?
I got quite a few people asking to read it, which was awesome. I got 3 meetings. So I think I met with Industry Entertainment and a manager at MXN and another one. And then an executive from our show was like, oh, are you looking for representation? Like this dude at Benderspink, really wants to read your script. And I was like, sure, and I sent, a pilot that I had written and Handbone off to him, and he read both and he really liked it. And he was like, yeah, I'd really love to help her find, a great idea for her next pilot. And
okay, so tell us, break that down. So the executive found, everybody sort of knew that you want.
First of all, I blasted it. I was like, I want blah, blah. It's really important that when, you do have your triumphs, you have to let everyone know, because if they don't know, they can't help you. Yeah. It's just like asking for what you want, know?
Yeah. And so that was a huge deal to, just tell people,
right.
And everybody knew.
And
everybody,
people are receptive, yeah.
And we gave you your check in front of them. It was it was cool, because people that were there professionally, that kind of thing went. But you were very good about that. You definitely told people about it.
Right.
And you did have some people that wanted to sign you from the BlueCat experience,
right.
But you actually went with Benderspink.
Right. I know.
But the executive found out about it because you were telling everybody about the BlueCat finalist victory.
Right.
So tell us about that meeting. So you sent the stuff over. Were you like, oh my God, it's Benderspink, they're a big company.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Tell them what that's like. I mean, because they it's like everybody wants to get to where they have representation, and when they don't, they're like, they want to be there, and they think that people that have representation are of some different breed or whatever,
right.
Or they're like aliens or something, but then actually everybody's the same.
Right.
So what was that process like when you went to the meeting, and how nervous were you, or what did he say when you were there in the room, and how did that go? You already had read Handbone, obviously,
right.
And this other pilot spec that you had written,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
So how did it go?
It wasn't, I was a little nervous, but not really. And he took me out to some Japanese barbecue, which was yummy, so he bought me lunch.
Nice.
So I figured, he's pretty interested if he's buying me lunch, I guess.
Right, it's not just come over to my office and
whatever.
Yeah,
which the other two.
By the way, do you want some water?
Sure, yeah. The other two, I got to go to the offices and everything else, but this dude seemed really serious, and we just had a great lunch, and it was just like talking to a friend,
Yeah.
And plus I had the referral from the person I work with, so who I respect. So I was like, I have to go with him. And plus I just connected with him more so than the others.
Yeah. So that was a big deal. People ask about that, what should I do? But it is about the relationship again. If you're I like this guy, they get my thing, I mean, he understands me, he seems to be genuinely a fan of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm, right.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah, he is. He's a big fan. And, every time we set a notes call, he's, right on time. He gives me notes, very quickly. He's
that's
really good.
Awesome.
He's really organized. And
so now what did he say? You said, okay, I'm going with you. Now what?
Right, and he's like,
what
awesome.
Did he say?
He's like, let's hustle.
Okay, now let's throw these two that you gave me out.
He was like,
we're not actually going to use these, by the way.
Right, pretty much, yeah. He was like, Handbone's awesome, but I don't know what studio to go to with that. So he's like, let's hustle and get a pilot.
And it's a drama. It's not really going to fit a lot of places.
Right.
Handbone. It's a little bit different. So,
Right.
all right. So he asked you to do what? What was that process like? Did he say, bring me an idea?
Yeah.
Or I have an idea, write this one? What was it?
He gave me this chart, and he was like, fill out this whole week, fill out ideas for a pilot and a feature, and let's go over them. We'll have a phone call, and let's go over which idea is the best one. And so that's what I did. I had like 10 pilot ideas and like 7 feature ideas. And then he called and was like, these are your top 3 ideas. So that's where he really came in, because it's like, I liked some other ideas too, but he knows what's marketable and what he can sell or whatever. So he's like, this one is the one. So that's the one we went with, and that's the one.
That's the really importance of the managers. They have the pulse on what's the marketplace is.
Right.
They know what's going to sell, and they help you develop that idea so that everybody can make some money and write something cool.
He had really good notes. Whenever I got stuck, it's like when you're a writer, you kind of know what's wrong with it, but for some reason you can't fix it, and then you hear it, and
Yeah.
But he was really good.
So he gave you the so you had the idea. Now what? Now what's the process now? So did you come up with a pilot or a feature to work on?
We worked on a pilot.
Okay.
So he said, yes, go with this idea, and then I came back with a sort of 3-page pitch document. And then from there, he helped me outline the basics of, the structure of the pilot. And then we went to outline. And then he gave me notes from the outline. And he writes in the PDF, which is really cool. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So, and then from there we went to script. So, and then I did about 4 drafts. And he went over it 4 times with me, which is
that's great.
Pretty awesome.
So now what? Now where are we at now? You've got are you sort of done, or what was the story?
We're pretty much done. I'm waiting for feedback from some people before we send it out, but he's ready to send it to some people.
He's ready to send it out.
Yeah.
So now what's going to happen? Where does he send it? What happens?
He sends
with a television pilot, because it's
right. He'll send it to his contacts. Wherever he thinks that it should go. So I think it's going to be like CW or ABC Family or something like that.
Now what is this going to be for? Are they going to be like, oh, we want to try and make this, or is this a sample for you to get on a writing staff, or what?
Our trajectory right now is he wants to sell it. We'd like to sell it. He got lucky last year and sold something to ABC Family, so I was thinking maybe we'll try that.
Maybe that. So that's what it is. So
right.
Well, that's great. That's great. So what a great story. So you just finished. Now what's going to happen next? You got the pilot. It's going to go out.
Right.
And are you already developing another idea with him?
Yeah. Yeah. The second idea on that list, I'm starting to outline now. And
another pilot.
Yes.
Okay. So because you've been working at Pretty Little Liars, you sort of.
Right.
You have a little bit of that's where you're probably going to go.
Right.
Right. So writing-wise for right now. Well, that's so awesome. What a great story. And all the way from when I met you at lunch. Yeah. A lot of stuff has happened.
Right. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
That's awesome. Well, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. So we're going to see if we have any questions. I imagine that there might be a few because everybody's excited. Isn't she awesome? I mean, she's like, we're so lucky to have her. And I got so lucky with almost all the time. Does Handbone, what were the first movies that motivated you to write when you were in college? Like when you were in college, or even earlier, what were the movies that made you want to write?
Geez, like all the Richard Linklater movies, like Dazed and Confused, Waking Life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of indie movies.
A lot of the indie movies.
I love the indie movies, yeah.
Nice, nice. Does Handbone end all jacked up?
Jacked up. Yes.
Because people are talking about crying and stuff.
Yes, Handbone almost dies, but does not die. Because actually, that was a BlueCat note.
Will you send people Handbone, or are you going to sit on it?
Of course,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants it, you can find Caitlyn online somehow. And
yeah.
Maybe she'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But Handbone's not. It doesn't, because everyone's talking about crying. So
now no one's gonna cry. So.
Well, no, it's not. It's just they assume that he's like he's done.
Right.
Or something. But he's fine. He's
right.
still rolling at the end of Handbone.
Yeah, he's definitely still rolling.
It's not like she didn't go for the jugular.
No.
But she did rock our world a little bit.
But that was a BlueCat note was that, Handbone doesn't have to die at the end, because originally I had him die, and then the coverage that I got back said.
So you did the resubs. You did the resubmissions.
I did, which I loved.
So you did the resubmissions, and your script improved from resubmissions, and that was it.
Right.
When you see other films with dogs, were there certain things you were trying to avoid in your writing?
Yes, I was just trying to make it not, cliche. I mean, I guess when it's a dog movie, there's a certain level of,
Can't avoid it.
You can't really avoid it, but...
it's a dog movie, though, and everybody loves dogs, and everybody wants that stuff in the movie.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's not like, you got to sort of deliver a little bit.
Right, to an extent. So, I wanted to make it like a modern day Lassie, just like this is, it's darker.
Cool, but it's like urban and pitbull and modern day Lassie. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. A modern day Lassie with a pitbull and Covina.
Yeah.
East LA. Since you work for Disney ABC, is it easier to get your own work read there?
It's still really hard because the executive producers are very busy, and it's hard to get anyone to read anything.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Just in general.
In general. So, like, when I was on the production side, even though I worked with them, no one read any of my stuff. And, it's still hard to get, people to read stuff because they're just so busy all the time.
Right.
But people did, once I blasted out Handbone, people started offering to read it.
Right.
That I had won,
Yeah, and the thing is that if something's good, if somebody starts reading the first 3 pages, then they're like, oh,
right.
They're going to keep reading it. So the writing has to be there too.
Exactly.
When you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wrote a few scenes describing the mood of a character, emotional but with control. Is this advisable? Wrote a few scenes describing the mood of a character. Should you write scene? Can you just sort of write out scenes to sort of do character development?
Yeah, I do that all the time, especially when I'm stuck. Yeah, I just I call them exploratory scenes, and I sort of learned that with my mentor at the UCLA class. It's like I did that with Ricky actually. I was trying to find his voice and really hear him.
Ricky's the protagonist in Handbone.
Yeah, and it's and that's when I found that anger in him when I did those scenes. I was like, I really honed in on how angry I wanted to make him, and that's basically the crux of his character,
Yeah.
And same with the dog. I mean, the dog is very angry because fighting or whatnot. So.
Are you getting close to? Are you close to getting a project you really want getting created? Well, she's going to take a script out very soon, so she's moving the pieces forward. So I guess she's getting closer every time. So, what did you do to help find the voice of a gangbanger? And was it difficult to give each character their own voice? That's 2 different questions. So let's start off with it. How did you write? I mean, you're obviously an Irish girl.
Right.
How did you write outside of your ethnicity and capture a teenage boy and all the things that are sort of outside of your world?
Right. It's difficult. I would say I'm a really good listener. And I used to work at Knott's Berry Farm where there was multiple ethnicities going around everywhere, and I would just sit for hours and listen to people speak.
Knott's Berry Farm down in Orange County.
It is, yeah.
Nice.
But it's every race goes through there. So
right.
So I did that for 4 years, when I was in high school. So that's sort of how I honed, those voices, and then
wow.
Also
because the voice, I think, that's one of the strengths of the script is you do. When you showed up for lunch, I was like,
who is this?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
So that was cool. So it was really just observing, your environment when you were working in Knott's Berry Farm, and you were just all the different ethnicities in in Southern California, essentially, which is it's very, very Latino, and so you're able to capture the teenage voice, and that's very interesting. So how do you make characters' voices different? Like how do you work till they start sounding? I
really try to just listen to who they would be, and I also try to think of people that I know in my life that have those same characteristics, and I try to just hear them, and that's where those exploratory scenes come in, is I can actually just write it, just how would they talk in this situation, or act, or feel, and that's how I start hearing the voices, because when you're concerned with plot and putting the story together, sometimes that shading is in the back seat, so. Right. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, very good. So, what industry job has been most fulfilling so far? What are the ones, out of all the ones that you've done so far, what is...
I would say writer's assistant and script coordinator, actually. They're both equally fulfilling. When you're writer's assistant, you get to be in the room with the writers, and our show is great, and they allow the script coordinator to be in the room as well, so when they're breaking the story. So I definitely say try to get a writer's assistant job or a job on a show, and then just tell everyone that you want to be a writer, and someday, if you work hard enough and long enough, something will open up and someone will have some lead somewhere.
It's very difficult to think about a career in writing for television if you don't live in Los Angeles. Obviously, it's just not going to work.
It's very
there's no real possibility because people are working on the scripts and everything is here. So, since you have Handbone, do you have industry professionals? Have you followed just that type of work? I'm not sure what that. Okay, this is good. Do you listen to music during your writing process?
I do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I listened to a lot of Tupac, and a lot of Eminem when I was writing Ricky, just to get that anger. I mean,
that's
Eminem's
awesome.
So angry.
Yeah. He got in a lot of trouble. I guess he was a lot of F-bombs at some veterans thing yesterday or something. Everyone was like, "Why do you have to do that?"
Right.
But he's
part of his vernacular.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Screenwriting genie in a bottle grants you 3 wishes. What are they?
To get Handbone made.
Okay.
To sell my pilot and have my own show.
Now, what do you mean? Do you want to be the showrunner of that show and just be
I'd like to do a Josh Schwartz thing, where it's
What's that? Who's Josh Schwartz?
Josh Schwartz. He wrote OC.
Okay.
OC, and he also wrote Chuck and and Gossip Girl. And he was very young, I think, when he sold his first thing. He came out of USC, and he sold the OC, and then they paired him with an experienced showrunner. So he was still an executive producer, but rocking it. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow. So you want to be?
That's intense. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, that's what you're sort of looking at, maybe wanting to do.
I mean, that'd be amazing, but it's that rarely happens. So I would just like to get a staff
How
writer
many
job.
How many female showrunners are there in television?
There's not that many. I would say Shonda Rhimes is probably the biggest.
She's huge.
Huge, yeah.
What's your experience being a woman? And obviously the percentages are horrible. What's the experience with that? Or do you get any sense of that, another wall to climb because you're a female and
I personally haven't, possibly because our show is geared towards women. I haven't been on a show where it's a boys' club. I've been lucky, I guess, but I have a couple of friends that say executive producers wouldn't hire girls because their wives were actually kind of jealous. So that's kind of weird.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Huh. So, but
there's probably stuff like that. But that's so cool that that you haven't had any of that nonsense. Okay, what's the third wish out of the screenwriting genie bottle?
Oh, jeez. Let's see.
What else?
Get an agent. There you go.
Get an agent.
Yeah.
Now, is your manager helping you find an agent or anything like that?
I think he will. Yeah. I had a meeting with a lawyer, just to
Oh, nice. You're going to need that. You
need
an attorney. They're really helpful.
So I'm sure when the time comes, he'll help.
People eventually have an attorney a lawyer, or a lawyer, agent, and a manager.
Right.
That's part of your whole team.
Right.
Team Caitlyn.
Right.
Nice.
Actually, revision. Wish three shows on the air. Done. Drop the mic.
That's what you want? 3 shows on the air?
Yeah.
Like a Shonda vibe?
Yeah, Shonda vibe.
Does she have 3 or just 2 now? She has 3 now.
She has 3.
Yeah, she just got that 3rd one up. What's that 3rd one?
It's How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah.
Scandal and...
Yeah, she just figured, I'll just name it whatever at this point. How do you get
She's like, just watch it.
Yeah, just watch my show.
Right.
Okay, well, very good. We're here with Caitlyn Brown, our 2014 finalist for BlueCat. She won earlier this year, guys and girls. We very excited to have her here tonight. She wrote a script called Handbone. And she had a nice little, if you missed any of the story, you'll be able to watch on YouTube. She's had a nice little run since Gordo gave her the call. Woo. Yes. And, so it's good. But she also did a lot of work. It wasn't a BlueCat production. It was, BlueCat was there, helped, but she did do what you should do, which is let everybody know. A lot of people talk about, I won this thing, but it's not the right contest or whatever. But if you put it on blast, like she said, just let everybody know, and you will, that's what made it happen for you. I mean, It wasn't just like, I won BlueCat.
Right.
I go to sleep. It's like you literally did stuff. And you let people know, and you were comfortable letting people know, and it is. You do have to ask for what people want. You have to ask for what you need from your environment, and not to get all weird or anything. But that's really how if you're shopping your wares at the marketplace. I mean, you got to open your mouth. So okay. Now top 3 movie favorites of all time.
Oh, jeez.
I know they ask me this stuff, and I'm always like, Caddyshack, Godzilla versus Mothra, and
Right. Let's see. I really like Far and Away, that Irish movie with Tom Cruise. That's like one of my favorites.
I like that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. Is it still good?
It's really good.
You watched it last night? You were just drunk?
I probably watched it like last year.
Yeah. That's cool.
Last of the Mohicans is one of my favorites as well.
Last of the Mohicans.
I like Period Piece.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, well, that's a
I love Daniel
Day-Lewis. DDL, he's always, you're not going to lose on that one. And then what was your third movie favorite?
3rd movie favorite. I would have to say Waking Life. That's one of my favorites.
Waking Life.
Yeah.
Now, do you read a lot of movie scripts?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any favorite scripts or television scripts or anything?
Eternal Sunshine. That was one of my favorite scripts to read.
Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one. Charlie Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what else? Anything else off the top of your head? Eternal Sunshine.
No, well,
and Handbone.
And Handbone
is another one that you sort of like. Mm-hmm. Could you write another urban drama without the dog?
I
don't know.
Of course you could. Yeah.
No, but I mean, in terms of you, do you think you'll set another? Do you feel like you want to go back there in that environment or those cast characters?
I love. Underdogs. I would say you would have to get another hook though. Like in that setting, I would say the dog is the hook. So
Big
it's like,
time.
how do you make it different from Boys in the Hood or something like that?
Right. What is your general writing method? Lots of note cards everywhere, legal pads, all on the computer?
I mainly do. I mainly try to outline, and then I put the beats on cards, and then I try to structure it. For a feature, it's like 3 acts, obviously, and then for a pilot, it's 6 acts. And if I get stuck, which I get stuck a lot, then I'll go do those exploratory scenes. And sometimes in the writing, I'll find it, but it's just like in the outline, I can't really find it. So. Yeah,
there's something different creatively going on when you're actually physically writing instead of just plotting with your mind on let me outline again. And But when you start actually having the character run through your instrument,
right.
You start to find stuff. That's great. Let's see if I like how this person's like, Katie. They're already close. Okay.
How did I know my name's
Mothra
Katie?
is blue chip. Yeah, no kidding. It's the best one, isn't it? It's not. It's Godzilla versus Mothra is the one with the girls. Godzilla versus Rodan. That's not one of the top ones. Anyways, okay. Have you? What job have you considered outside of the? You ever thought about being outside of the industry?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I don't know of a job outside of the industry that would help you, one, become a writer. I mean, I would think, if anything, you should do a job that is different or cool, like, you know, try to be a sex therapist or something where you can get a lot of knowledge and then use that in your writing. And a lot of times, sometimes, you know, you go on these interviews to be a staff writer or whatever, and they're like, you know, what do you know about? Like, are you from, you know, whatever, or are you, you know, have you worked in the Peace Corps, or do you have any other experience? And then if it aligns with the show, then they're like, oh my gosh, you're basically like a consultant. So
Yeah.
if you're a good writer and then you also have that knowledge, it's a double bonus.
Right. Mike, you remember when you were a sex therapist?
I do, yeah. I was fired after the first day, but
You were?
It was a good run though.
Yeah, but it helped you with your writing.
It did help me with my writing. Yes.
Yeah. It was like one
But
of
the
those.
state of California wasn't cool
Yeah.
with it. Or
Well, because your Ohio license didn't
Yeah,
transfer.
Ohio license
I forgot. I
didn't
remember you
transfer.
told me about that.
yeah, it was a rough time. I'd rather not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. You seem to favor TV over movies. Is that correct? If so, why?
That's actually not correct, but I love indie films, but I just, you know, I want to get a paying job. So, and features are very hard, so it's hard to, you know, I had a couple set PA jobs on features, but other than that, I haven't been able to make steady money in features.
But you do have a job, and you have a network, and you can
Right.
tell stories in television, and it is a rich
Right.
place to do that.
Right.
How has the industry changed since you started?
Well, you know, all the good content is now on cable, so I mean that's my feeling. And you know, Hulu,
Have you seen that since you started? Like, and now you're like
Yeah.
Netflix, Amazon, Hulu.
Right. All these streaming, you know, it's changing rapidly, and it's good for lower level writers because now they're, you know, recruiting some lower level writers to do some of those shows, which is great. But it's also sort of like breaking the model for, you know, for the higher paid older writers.
And they're
so.
like, what?
Yeah.
We had this little situation going here that was,
It was
nice,
pretty sweet,
and
yeah.
now it's like, is Mike available for consultation? It's yeah, I think he might be. So you can reach out to him and see. Michael is a crier. They're all going after him. If you stay in television too long, is it harder to get work and do films? You think if you go and you establish yourself as a television writer, do you think it's going to be? Are you worried about that?
I think if you have success, you have success, and I think there's a possibility that you might get pigeonholed, but I think it's easier probably to go from TV to film. I don't know. I don't really know. I think it'd be harder to go from features to TV. But like my boss did it, Marlene. She wrote Now and Then, and she's been, you know, writing and rewriting features for years, and then she was hired by ABC Family to do this pilot. So
That's great. That's great.
So
you have a lot of models. Now, okay, see if there's any other questions. These are great questions, you guys, and I appreciate all the good questions you have. And are there frustrating aspects to working in a group of, say, 8 in a room? What's that like?
there's always, I mean, you know.
You ever seen any any meltdowns?
No real meltdowns.
They don't happen because no one would even be there if they knew. They sort of.
Right, that's where it's like the cool thing comes in. You have to be like, you know, cool and not have an ego and like, you know.
Yeah, you can't be like, my idea is awesome!
Be collaborative.
Get out of my way!
Yeah.
So what's that, I mean, you know, remember, I mean, that's how I am, Mike, right? It doesn't really, I would never, I don't know, man. So, but what is frustrating about it?
The long hours are always hard, you know, and our show isn't even bad, you know. You hear horror stories of being there until like 2 or 3 in the morning, you know. But I would say just always trying to come up with good ideas. I mean, it's really tiring to be stuck in a room all day and, like, you know, just trying to pitch idea after idea and have them be good. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. Do you ever see, like, a little bit of a stretch where everyone's just laying goose eggs?
Yeah.
What happens? Do they just go get some LSD, or?
We usually just take a break and try to regroup, you know, take a walk or something.
I don't know why. I think it would probably not be good to go get acid.
Yeah, that might be like more derailing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is that not, Mike? I mean, is that not good? I mean,
that's how I write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scripts.
That's what I mean. I thought that was like the way Mike solves things.
Actually, I'm right now, so can you keep it down a little bit?
Okay, he's very good. Now, do you write better in a group? Do you feel like you're now wanting to be with a group, or you're still writing everything by yourself?
I am still writing
you
everything by myself. I don't have a partner, no.
Do you think about getting a partner, or
I have thought
do you
about
look forward to being in a writer's room, or?
I do look forward to being in a room, and it is really fun to bounce, you know, ideas off of other people, and when you get stuck, it's obviously great, you know. And I have thought about getting a writing partner, but, you know, I just haven't met that person that I really want to link up with, so.
And you kind of, you know, you kick ass by yourself, you don't need anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, it's like, well, that's what I mean. I think people that, I mean, not to bemoan people, writers and people partners, and Billy Wilder had a partner. He always had a partner that he worked with, and, you know, so we're good. But, you know, it feels like I'm just like, if you have your stuff, you have your stuff, and,
right.
You know, you're sort of like, I don't really, why do I need somebody to work with, even though other people have a very fruitful collaborations with that.
Right.
Mike is up for apparently anything. Yeah, he is. He's BlueCat slammed my acid-driven script. Well, you know, and then pitched a no-hitter. You know, a lot of readers don't take acid. Just because Mike is answering all your questions on hallucinogenics, and we've sent Johnny out for some to pick the mushrooms. So, anyways, well. Let's see. I agree, like, working with people, but it's hard to find the right person who thinks the same way.
Exactly.
Do you get inspiration from the older movies from the golden age of film? Do you like older, like, do you watch anything?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, one of my favorite older films is 1,000 Clowns.
What is that? I've not heard of that.
It's just an eccentric dude that doesn't believe in working, and he thinks that everyone who goes to work is like, you know, in New York, it's like 1,000 clowns going to work at like 8 a.m. Yeah.
What is that film? Can we get that link on that, Mike? IMDb or something?
I forget who the star is, but he's a well-known dude.
Okay, 1,000 Clowns.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like it sounds like the BlueCat Office or something.
Yeah.
It's just a little like they're gonna remake that on like the day Johnny and Mike were hired. Wilder had a bad experience with Chandler, but their screenplay was great. Double Indemnity. Well, Chandler was frustrated with the process because I mean Chandler didn't need anybody to help him, but Wilder worked with Brackett, right, and Diamond.
Yep.
And he worked with one guy for a while for many films, and then he got another guy, and they worked for the rest of his career. So, but with Chandler, it was different. Raymond Chandler he really wasn't built for that kind of stuff, and thank God too. Man, Raymond Chandler. I just want to go right up to Hollywood Boulevard right now and go to Las Palmas and just walk around over there. So, Jason Robards, 1,000 Clowns. Mm-hmm. Was he in 1,000 Clowns? I guess not. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody? Any other questions for Caitlyn? We only have a couple more minutes. So we're gonna sign off for a second, and we're gonna come back at 11:30 tonight, everybody. 11:30 to 1:30, a special final deadline international Ustream whatever. It's just going to be cuckoo. Heather's going to be back. Raymond Chandler is, I wish I could just read a book right now by Raymond Chandler right now and in my bed and just be reading it right now. I'm sorry, but it's so awesome. Raymond Chandler. Anybody else? Any other questions? So, all right. What? No, got anything?
I have one more little batch.
Oh, you got another batch there. Okay. So Mike is always. Oh, there's another one. Is there a particular director you'd like to work with? What if there was like an opportunity to work with any director? Like, I'll direct your script.
Right, Ron Howard or Richard Linklater.
Nice, Ron Howard.
Yep.
He's a good director.
Another redhead.
Yeah, another redhead. Yeah, we got a lot of redheads. I think he's underrated. I think people really give him a bunch of crap, and he's that movie last year. What was that movie called?
Rush.
Rush.
That was really good. Yeah.
That was one of the best movies of the year, and it was really. Did you guys see Rush? If you haven't seen Rush, as a screenwriter, you definitely should see Rush. It was a great movie. Will you enter another contest at this point in your career?
I actually I'm going to rewrite Handbone off the notes you gave me, and I want to enter that into the Humanitas.
Oh, that would be good.
Awards?
That would be a great place to send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
cool. You're going to send that out?
Definitely.
Yeah. Rush was awesome. Yeah, that's a good one for everybody. Could you talk about writing on a staff? We have talked about that and like what that's like in a room and everything else. Now you keep talking about you have to sort of no ego. What does that mean?
It means that, there's sort of like a feeling to the room. So it's like, say you pitch an idea and people aren't catching on to it. Don't keep pitching that idea, because you sort of want to move the conversation in the right direction, right, and be productive. But there's some people that just don't get, like, no, that idea isn't flying, like, pitch something else,
Oh, I would be terrible. It would be like hours before I would wake up and know that everyone thinks my idea sucks. I mean, that's the thing. Mike is so nice to me.
Right.
He's just awesome. We love Mike. And I'll be telling him some idea, and he'll just be like smiling at me with that 1,000-yard stare of like, why? Yeah, like this is just. I'm like in another world. I'm making out with an ex-girlfriend from 4 years ago in Ohio, and I'm not even listening to this guy. Like, and he just keeps pitching something to me, and it's like not. I would be horrible. I mean, it's so cool that you. All right, and. What do you plan to bring to the industry that is missing right now?
I mean, I think we all have unique perspectives, so I encourage everyone to write, and I like social commentary, dramas that have social commentary in them. So I try to bring a few more of those in here.
Yeah.
But that's one of those essay questions, man. I hate those. Questions. What's your unique perspective?
Yeah. Well, it's that's a tough question. What do you plan to bring to the industry that is missing? I mean, it's very much like I mean, I just want to write a cool story, so I don't really know if it's missing. If that's actually what's missing, but so I definitely understand it's a little bit of a theoretical thing, but I do think that I think your answer is a good answer because people want like, hey, what's going on right now, and that's what's great about Handbone is it's very much a 21st century movie.
Right.
I don't think it could have been written in 1995 or anything like that. I mean, in terms of the Lassie aspects, yes, but everything else, the details and the dynamics and, the mother character and everything else. So,
and I do think it's important because movies are, people see, social things that are happening in the world from movies, like it's important to.
Yeah. Are there any ideas that you have, but then forget, but then later you pick up again and you're like, oh,
yeah,
that idea.
Definitely.
Remember that awesome idea?
Yeah, definitely. I keep a journal with all my ideas. So, and sometimes, you have an idea, but it's not really baked completely. And then, a month goes by and you're like, that was the missing link to that idea. You know,
yeah, and all of a
it's
sudden
like
you've got another
that's
one.
the hook to the idea, or that's like, you know,
Right.
what makes it complete. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you consider a writer to be a behind-the-scenes person, or do you want to have more input in the final product? I mean, I thought that was really, with television, writers are king.
Front and center. Yeah.
Yeah, and then film, it's a little bit different. So,
Right.
what are your feelings? Obviously, you want to sort of be involved, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that every writer would want to be involved in their project. I mean, I want to be right there, like, you know,
Yeah.
on the director's shoulder.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not annoyingly, but I would love to be there.
Yeah, yeah. You want to have the respect
and
of
give
that.
your
You
input.
want Ron to listen to you when he's got a
Right,
you've
and
got a
I
new
hear he's
idea.
very good with writers, Ron.
Man, you
so.
need to meet this guy.
I
Have
do.
you told your manager about Ron Howard yet?
I haven't broached that subject, but
Really?
I'll be like redhead connection. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I mean, there's got to be some of that. Rush is a terrific film. Why did it fail? It failed because of the marketing. I mean, Rush failed because of the marketing. I mean, they didn't get behind it either. I think it was made with overseas. I don't know who was the actual behind it, but they didn't close the deal. They needed to get out in front of it and probably release it. They just went for the money. They wanted to release in the summer. They wanted the NASCAR crowd. They wanted like the people that were just going to go see a race car movie. But they probably should have released it in the fall and positioned it as an Oscar prestige type of picture. And then it probably would have had legs and more people would have been encouraged to see it. But nobody saw that. It was really, really a shame because it was one of the best movies of last year. I mean, it was definitely, it was really, really, the filmmaking in Rush was amazing. Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, the
Yes.
filmmaking was great. The acting was fantastic. It was really awesome. What writer's brain do you want to pick?
Gordy's. No, I'm just kidding. No, after.
Yeah, she is kidding because she doesn't care what I think. She's already like, I've heard you. I know your vibe, dude. I'm over it. There's nothing there to pick.
Right.
So, okay,
right.
what writer do you want to...
After seeing Interstellar this weekend, I'd want to pick Nolan's because he does all these really big budget films, but they're really good, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, that was an interesting film. We saw it last night,
interesting. Yeah.
and there was a lot going on in that movie.
Right. And it's like,
I had to
how long
go-
did that take to write, and how many dimensions did you have to be in to actually write it, right?
Yeah. I like went to the Wikipedia thing and read the plot summary,
okay.
so I could.
need to know that.
After I saw it, it was helpful because it sort of helped me sort of be like, oh, okay, because I
Right.
didn't. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little plot holey, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
I did.
Where in Ohio is Mike from? My name is Mike, and I live in Ohio, so I'm scared. He's from Cleveland, and he sent me that question, so he knows that I'm already doing it. I believe they've been writing it since 2006. Well, that makes sense. Read the rest of the comment, Gordy.
I think that was that Rush from that Rush one.
Oh, what was I know you loved it. I wasn't throwing you under the bus. I knew that you liked it. And what did you think of Backdraft?
I loved Backdraft. My dad's a firefighter, and I actually wrote a female firefighter story called Firestorm.
Whoa!
Yeah. So I'm very into firefighters.
Firestorm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that actually got in the top 10 of the UCLA Extension Contest
Oh, wow.
back in 2008.
Oh, well,
So.
cool. So you got that one out there. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you could go to Ron and be like, come on, man.
I'm like, hey, take two.
Reboot. Female version, right?
Yeah.
And what else? Okay. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time. We're getting close to the end. How long did it take to get the script from an idea to placing Handbone in the competition?
About 2 years, because I rewrote it 3 times. So originally, the manager I was talking to before that, who was very small time, she she wanted it to be like a kid, like a kid in a pit bull, but that just was not working. So I rewrote that twice, and then I was like, fuck it, I can't, it has to be in a certain setting. It's so dark, dog fighting is so dark, you have to make it in a dark setting, and then I got the idea to align the anger of the dog with the anger of the protagonist.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That was really awesome. If Ron Howard called you tomorrow, do you have something to produce now?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What?
I have. Well,
Handbone?
I would say Handbone is like one rewrite away from producible, and then I have multiple pilots. He should get into TV, right? All the cool people are going to TV now, so and I have the firefighter one, which is pretty solid. I have another feature that's solid. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you commit to everybody on Ustream right now to getting a hold of Ron Howard by the time you come back and give us an update,
yeah,
will you get a hold of Ron Howard somehow?
I will.
Why don't you?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, why don't you talk to your manager and be like, hey,
Okay.
can I just get a meeting with his development person and start the ball rolling?
Totally, I would
'Cause
love to.
I imagine
yeah.
he's done a lot. He's won an Oscar. He's done everything.
Right.
I mean, he did Happy Days. He's won an Oscar.
Right.
What else is there?
Right.
And now it's Caitlyn time.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Now
That's
it's
a great
not,
idea.
Right? So I just feel like you're good at putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if you could get
Yeah.
do you think you have certain writing strengths?
Yes, I think characters and dialogue are my strengths. Sometimes I get lost in structure, certain people, especially in TV, certain people are really good at putting the exact plot points at the exact times. So I would say I have to struggle with structure more than I do. I like writing the character scenes.
Mm.
Those are the most fun for me.
Mm. Character sub.
Yeah.
Cut a little video and send him the clip of Gordy's challenge to Ron Howard.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea. So
Yeah.
I bet you she'll go after it.
Yeah.
One more question, and then we're going to sign off here. Have you written a science fiction flick? I don't know if that's our last question, but have you written any science fiction?
I haven't, but I've thought about it. But people
After you saw Inherence or Inception or whatever it's called.
whatever, yeah,
Interstellar. I wish you didn't have it in. It's like there's too many
I know,
ins.
there's too many ins, exactly.
In Nolan. The next one's going to be in Nolan.
Right,
No?
right. In Nolan.
So have you thought about science fiction? Any ideas for that? Or
No, but everyone tells me that, you don't want to write too many of, every genre, because then people don't really, take you seriously. And they don't think you're an expert at, that's what a couple of the executives that I've talked to have said, you don't want to have one of everything. You just want to have, a bunch of really good dramas or a bunch of really good comedies, which kind of sucks, And I might try to do a sci-fi, just for myself, and if it ends up being good, cool, But.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. It feels like well, very good. So we're about out of time, and I just wanted to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having
We were as we were doing the Ustreams, I was like, we got to get Caitlyn in here because she's so awesome, and I'm so glad because I know you worked all day and then you came in and did this for us, and I really, really appreciate it. I know Mike was really, really stoked because he's got a huge crush on you, and it's not a secret, even though you are engaged and you have a serious situation, and it's never going to change, Mike. It doesn't. I just don't think it's.
Whatever. I got enough.
But at least you got a little hug. She came and saw you. She does like you.
It's better to have loved and lost than to
not have loved
To
at all.
never have met Caitlyn at all. Yeah, exactly. Of course, we all love Caitlyn, and now she's got even more fans.
Cheer.
Right about it, Mike. Yeah, everybody's. But thank you, folks, everybody. And we'll be back at 11:30. We're gonna have some more shenanigans. We're gonna have Heather back. And we're going to be doing these Ustreams every couple weeks going forward. So we're going to try and have our fun we're going to really try and get our alumni back, because I love how we can have our alumni. They're so very generous, and they have a special connection to all of you guys, because at one time they were all where you guys are submitting to BlueCat, and so there's a link there that's very special. So we love that, but we'll have a lot of other people. So thank you so much, everybody, and we are very, very grateful that you hung in there, and thank you for all the questions too. It's so nice with the questions, and very thoughtful. And Caitlyn, you're awesome, and so nice to hear. I mean, you're just gonna skyrocket. I'm just gonna be like, we're gonna be like 3 years from now, like, Caitlyn, would you please? It's just like, well, I got my second show in the air, Gordy. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to come over and do your Ustream.
Of course.
And I'll be
always
like,
have time for Gordy.
and I'll be like, Mike's here.
Yeah, Mike.
And Mike. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you again at tonight. Okay. All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.